Welcome to today's edition of PWCI This Week. I am the American Conservative Crime Fighter, and on today's episode, it's time for a roundup of all the St. Louis wrestling scene developments over the past several weeks. We'll call this episode the Crimey Watch. Most recent news is the return of Jaden Roller to the ring in St. Louis at Mid-Missouri Wrestling Alliance, then last Thursday at Dynamo Pro Wrestling. As previously reported, Roller was accused of having an explicit conversation with an underage fan via text messages. How this incident was discovered is the teen approached the teacher's aide in tears, of which the story was passed along to a teacher at the school who happened to be the wife of the wrestling personality known as Midnight Guthrie. He and the promoters of 3XW investigated further, including a chat with Roller himself, who denied it. Guthrie and the victim's family talked with a detective in Des Moines, Iowa. However, Roller announced in April that he was returning to the ring, much to the chagrin of Guthrie and others. Roller also announced he is pursuing legal action of his own against, presumably, Guthrie and the owners of 3XW for slander and defamation. He accuses them of falsifying information regarding involvement of a minor. He also states there is no open investigation against him. The daughter of Road Warrior Animal, Jessica Lautrinitis, who is engaged to Roller, blasted 3XW for sharing the minor's information with parties not involved in a Facebook group chat, and Guthrie in particular, questioning if the accusations against Roller were true. Why didn't he call the police instead of blast it on social media? And yes, she has somewhat of a point. What happened with the investigation? Why haven't there been charges filed against Roller? According to Guthrie, as best he can tell, that investigation appears to have either been stalled or has been dropped. So I have to ask, if a smoking gun was found, why couldn't a case be built around it? Was there an issue with authentication of the evidence? Does somebody believe that the screenshots were doctored? Dynamo Pro, in a response to a Twitter user questioning the booking of Roller, stated they were provided sufficient legal documentation showing false allegations to go ahead and book him. When another Twitter user asked for posting the documents that prove he didn't send sexually explicit material to a teenager, Dynamo Pro stated they legally could not do so. Twitter users such as Mick Dreabine and RW Ravager are having none of it, stating the evidence that's out there in the open is much stronger. Close friends of Guthrie say he has no reason to make up a story like this. Whatever it is, without a Freedom of Information Act request to the Des Moines Police Department or whichever local PD it was that was reported to, or the attorney representing Roller, we cannot know at this time. If Roller goes through with the lawsuit and Guthrie has a solid foundation to defend himself, call his bluff. Once again, I have to remind all of you, the court of public opinion is not at all, nor will it ever be, a valid substitute to a court of law. Both parties need to tell their stories in front of a judge and be put on the witness stand to be cross-examined by attorneys. The judge and or jury make a determination as to what the truth is and levy a judgment. That is due process, and that is how our judicial system is supposed to work. We shall keep watching this situation for any new developments. If you have any hot tips for us to check out, please drop me a line below. Also on the court watch, Molly Woodward has finally secured the services of a pro bono attorney, Brendan Roediger. He's an associate professor at St. Louis University School of Law, a supervisor in the civil litigation clinic and an award-winning lawyer, taking on pro bono cases for indigents across the region. Woodward actually did appear for a deposition on May 15th. The next scheduled court date is set for mid-July. Michael Elgin did sign with Impact Wrestling, making his debut on April 28th, confronting Brian Cage after he won the Impact World title at Rebellion. A recent match of his against Rich Swann on last week's episode of Impact, airing on the Pursuit channel, was not seen by many who had the network on their cable dial, as a commercial loop ran almost the entire last half hour of the show. Pursuit blames it on a computer glitch that only affected some of its viewers. In a strange twist, Drama Llama Truth had her mugshot shared on Twitter, of which she was charged with domestic violence against her husband and DUI back in January. A Twitter account under the name S4MIJ0Y0 posted audio of a call to a Colorado Sheriff's Department and the police report from someone out of state who happened to be a friend of her husband. This Twitter user happens to be a deranged left-wing lunatic. Llama responded with a video commenting on the situation, which I have a link below in the YouTube description, of which this has developed into a feud between current and former members of Anonymous. Several individuals who had previously been in Llama's line of fire took delight in the information. Information on Llama was posted on the Twitter account Your Anon News, but it was taken down and a person who had access to the account removed. Llama did acknowledge that the incident happened and expressed surprise it took this long for it to come out, but takes full responsibility for her actions. I've not been able to speak with the Llama on this, but the couple is still together and she is still engaged on the horse abuse investigation. Just an FYI, this does not exonerate anyone who is exposed for their crimes, such as Abby Arthur's fake cancer scare, Molly Woodward's perjury, or those abusing horses. Marshall Strait was scheduled to be sentenced on May the 13th, following his guilty plea to sodomy against minor. However, that appears to have been delayed without explanation. Note update has been posted on Missouri Court's website on that case number. We'll keep you posted. Matt Harmon was to go to court last week to face domestic violence charges, but that has been continued to late June. Midwest Impact Pro is still booking Harmon on her events in the meantime. Could the man who attacked Randy Orton at the WWE house show in South Africa in 2013 have struck again? Video footage of Arnold Schwarzenegger emerged from South Africa where an individual ran up and threw a dropkick from behind. Local authorities stated the perpetrator has a history of staging similar events in the past. Of course I'm speculating here, but the MO is a little bit too coincidental. Orton's attacker was said to be a wrestler in South Africa. This guy who threw a drop kick just like a wrestler. And listen to the voice from the two clips I have.
So why did I jump off the stage? That's the question at the moment. Randy Orton, wherever you are, man, you owe me. I'm the wrestling machine. I'm coming, Randy. I'm after the money in the bank case. I'm after the briefcase. I'm after that. And I will get it because in everything I do in this world, I keep on shining, surviving.
Help me! I'm ready for All-Star! Help me! I need an Lamborghini! Help me! I need an Lamborghini! Help me! I need an Lamborghini!
I'm after that, and I will get it because in everything I do in this world, I keep on shining, surviving.
I'm ready for All-Star! Help me! I need an Lamborghini! Help me! I need an Lamborghini!
Sound similar to each other. We'll see if my gut instinct is right that this is the very same person in both incidents. We'll let you know. Coming up in the second half of the program. A tribute to Tolerant Xero, and is someone sabotaging the RWF? These and more after we take a look at the weekend schedule. Sad news at the top of the program is the death of former WWE superstar Ashley Mazzaro on May the 16th at age of 39, just 10 days shy of her 40th birthday. She made a few appearances for Zero One Supreme in 2017. Mazzaro was the winner of the Diva Search in 2005 and also competed on Survivor China in 2007. Tragically, it appears to be a suicide as she had battled depression for many years, of which she blamed on concussions suffered in the wrestling ring. Michael Jordan, aka former New Wave Pro wrestler Tolerant Xero, passed away on May the 9th at age 37. Jordan previously suffered a heart attack in April and was recovering from open heart surgery at the time of his death. Jordan retired from active competition back in 2014 after a 15-year career. While I never got to see him compete, you may have seen some of his videos on YouTube where he had a series on Where Wrestling Goes to Die. He was also a radio personality on WXXR 97.3 radio in Terre Haute, Indiana. We're going to go back in time and listen to Mike as he gives his farewell to the ring.
Back in November of 1998, I met this gentleman in Lincoln, Indiana, who happened to lead me in the direction where I needed to go to start this dream of mine. He pointed me to Albany, Illinois, for a man, Bud Chaplin. For the next few months, I trained under Bud. 7 months after that, July 19, 1999, I had my very first match. It was in the pizza restaurant parking lot in Bloomfield, Indiana. It doesn't get much more backwards than that. Like fast forward 15 years, I'm standing right here in the New Wave Pro ring. No argument that this is the best promotion in the state and states, two states at least, Indiana and Illinois. Those are not very good words states put together. But over the past 15 years, I've gotten hurt, I've separated shoulders, I've been busted open more times than all these dogs. I've been hurt real bad, nothing too serious. But over the last 3 years, every time I came out to can do it or not, you get your ass out there and you do it, because by the time you're older, you're looking back, thinking, oh, well, what could have been? You think you're hating your life or not ever going to do it. I spent the last 15 years doing what I love, and no one took that from me, and I am damn proud of it. Darkest part of my heart, I say thank you. Play the full song.
Jordan Grace will be in the junior heavyweight tournament this Saturday in Mattoon for 01 Supreme on the 25th at the Burgess Osborne Auditorium. Was said to be not under contract to Impact Wrestling as previously thought. PW Insider had reported last weekend, after learning from multiple sources, Grace was presented with a contract, but it was never signed, and had been working with the promotion for the last 7 months as a free agent. As of last Sunday afternoon, Grace announced she is happy to call Impact Wrestling her home for many years to come after being presented with many options over the weekend. Grace had previously challenged Taya Valkyrie for the Knockouts Championship at last month's Rebellion pay-per-view on April the 28th. She is scheduled to face Jake Lander at 01 in a round 1 matchup this Saturday. Derek Moss made a surprise return to the ring at Pinfall Wrestling Association's Grand Wrestling Spectacle 9 as part of a mystery trio against Attitude Incorporated after being defeated by Tom Arson in a Loser Leaves Town match from last November. We aired on this program. I've always scoffed at the match stipulation as never being honored, which Mossy says he got a call and needed to go help. We believe his in-ring return is a one-shot, but may do Wrestling for a Cure this summer. Rebellious Wrestling Federation will be holding its first event in 2 years on June 1st. They booked talents all the way back to November. However, as the event drew closer, people began pulling out of it for various reasons. The list of people who took a booking and withdrew from the June 1st event in Pontiac, Illinois is quite lengthy. Some of the people once booked on the show include Nick Brubaker, Brandon Espinosa, Jason Hades, Savannah Stone, James Brady, and Marche Rocket. Brubaker pulled out of the event saying he had a prior commitment he forgot about. Espinosa pulled out of the event saying he had to go work for World League Wrestling, of which he was supposedly winning the tag titles soon, and they were a major help in getting him through some personal drama. Marche Rocket pulled out of the event, claiming he got a bigger opportunity. Savannah pulled out of the event after getting several messages warning her about him. Ditto for Brady. A lot of these changes were done after posters were printed. One other person who is not a wrestler but would be working as support staff was actually called by an unknown party and threatened with physical violence if they worked there. Sean Hubbard and Steve Kane, in a special podcast, which we have linked below in the description to this YouTube video, if you're watching it on YouTube, levied multiple charges that someone is deliberately tampering with their event. He listed all the possible suspects of whom would have motive to sabotage it to the point it is shut down or severely crippled. I should note, he's made a lot of enemies over the years via his own podcast, Wrestling Authority Radio, so the list of possible suspects could go well beyond whom he mentioned. Also, I will give you another possible motive he didn't mention. At the top of his suspect list is Jay Repsol, with whom Hubbard says he has had issues with since 2002. When his promotion became an NWA Midwest affiliate with Ed Chuman, several wrestlers said they couldn't work for both Dreamwave Wrestling and with RWF, Rebellious Wrestling Federation. From my observations, Repsol and Dreamwave personnel would have a grudge, as the hosts were heavy critics of the Dreamwave product, to which I didn't agree with a number of points they made about it. Hubbard also called out Christian Rose for claiming no refunds were issued for a canceled RWF show in 2018. Hubbard holds documentations to prove refunds were issued if he was ever taken to court. Rose would have a grudge, as Hubbard heavily criticized him for working with the Revolution Wrestling roster, who weren't trained at the time and actively were running shows. Hubbard noticed that Rose has found himself barred from certain companies such as AEW for his attitude. He also called out Joey Grunge as another suspect, who would have motive against him for calling him out for using someone who has assaulted his ring announcer, Jess Blue, and another co-host of WAR. Another man with a pending domestic violence charge we had mentioned earlier, but also using a venue that wasn't zoned nor up to code to run events from. Hubbard also worked a couple events for Grunge recently, but had a number of issues and withdrew. He also called out The Beast, who had sexually assaulted his ex-boyfriend in a hotel room, having motive. Statute of limitations on that incident, however, as of this month, expired. He named David Cavazos the promoter 01, where he had kept a recording of an angry confrontation over the phone over shows in Streeter that were set a week apart, and a dispute over who had rights to run there. Not mentioned, but would be more motivation, was the host's heavy criticism over the now infamous fish hooking incident and ring dismantling in January 2018, and comments against Chris Cunningham, which got him nuclear heat that a public apology didn't reduce. He also called out the circle jerking clan, who had been acting as debt collectors for the Chuman family, whether or not they had permission to. Other suspects he names having some sort of possible involvement included Justin McIntyre, Kid Riot, Bobby Houston, Zeke Rishi, Tim Gibbons, and Douglas O'Shea. Hubbard charges the people who pulled out of the June 1st event were screwing over the fans who made them a star. He states whomever it is that is interfering with his event cannot fathom how this person can hold so much influence or power over a supposedly independent wrestler. The three major reasons Hubbard and Kane believe people are holding over them include not paying talent at one of his events in 2012, that he cancels too many shows, and that he screwed Ed Chuman out of money. To which he states all parties involved in the 2012 event did get their payday eventually. Other promoters have canceled far more events than he has, naming Ian Rotten as someone who's canceled more shows that he could ever count. And Bill Behrens confirmed in an interview that Hubbard didn't screw Chuman out of money. Hubbard states all those reasons are not valid, and he will eventually catch up to and out whomever it is that is the actual culprit. Independent wrestlers should check out the credentials of the promoter before ever accepting a booking from them, and promoters should check the credentials of the talent as well. So here's my question. Why has no one tried to talk me out of working this event as a cameraman in Pontiac June 1st? If I'm in danger, why is nobody coming to rescue me? If Hubbard is such a clear and present danger to the wrestling community, apparently no one cares for my safety very much. Or maybe after hearing all this, you think it's a bunch of nonsense and you believe Hubbard and Kane are blowing this totally out of proportion and wrestlers are doing this all the time with other promotions. So I want to hear from the public. Is this much to do now nothing? Or is there an orchestrated campaign to shut down this organization to exact revenge? I'd like to hear from you. You may post a comment below or request to appear on this program with an editorial comment. I may be doing a live interview of Hubbard on a future program where I plan to ask about this and other hard questions. And that'll do it for this edition of PWCI This Week. For those watching on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button below and give me a like. A new episode of this program is posted each and every week showcasing the various promotions all across Central Illinois. It is Memorial Day weekend, the unofficial start of summer. May I be on the roads during the holiday? I shall be as well. Travel safely, and please follow Scott's Law. Slow down and move over for the police, fire, first responders, and construction workers. It's the law. Till next time, this is Mad Conservative Crime Fighter. Support your local independent wrestling promotion and enjoy your Memorial Day holiday weekend.